This beautiful wagon is a 1999 BMW Alpina B10 V8 Touring, a 4.6 litre luxury barnstormer. Now, as if you didn't already know, Alpina is a factory-endorsed manufacturer of high-performance BMWs. The recipe for an Alpina is to take a highly spec BMW, fettle with the engine and make it more luxurious and exclusive. It sounds simple, but this is a far more bespoke service than just aftermarket modifications. All the fettling takes considerable man-hours, and so understandably, a new Alpina is as expensive as it is rare. Only 204 of these cars were ever made, and this one is number 143. That makes these pretty rare and therefore a very special car. It's also one of only 5 right-hand drive cars, and it comes in this beautiful Alpina green and Lavalina cream, which is believed to be the only one in this combination. Well, that's not strictly true, because there is another car which has that colour combination, and we've already sold it. It is the B10 V8S. This is the B10 V8. So if you're into your fast BMWs, then this is pretty special. Alpina took the capacity to 375 horsepower and 510 Newton meters of torque. The additional power is delivered through a 5-speed automatic Switch Tronic system. Alpina then added their own suspension, exhaust, larger brakes and aerodynamic aids. Like so many fast Tourings, the Alpina B10 really is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it keeps its face very unassuming. Other than the front spoiler and the Alpina down here, you wouldn't otherwise distinguish it from any other BMW estate car. That is, of course, until you get round the side of the car and you see these absolutely gorgeous classic Alpina alloys. Something that's pretty cool and quirky about the wheels is that you've got this really crisp design. There's nothing that interrupts the wheel design here, but in the centre here you can pull this out, and actually that's how you access your wheel nuts, and actually that's also where the valve to blow up your tyres is housed as well, which is great because that means no one's going to let your tyres down. Your eyes are very quickly drawn then to this gold detailing down the side of the car, which contrasts so nicely with the Alpina green. The rest of the exterior feels pretty standard stuff. There's nothing too overtly garish. We've got this nice classy muted colour to the car. Yes, we've got these recognisable Alpina alloys, but other than that it's a real sleeper. And then the giveaway comes round the back of the car, where we've got this rather obvious badging denoting the B10 V8 and a rather subtle twin pipe exhaust, which of course when you start up really gives the game away. Let me start her up and you'll see exactly what I mean. Now, of course, another key feature of a touring or a big estate car is the fact that you can comfortably seat a family of 5 and then chuck all their luggage into the boot. And one of the things that I really like about these BMWs is that you get this tailgate design. So you can lift up the glass panel there and access all the boot. You don't have to lift the whole thing up. So that's very convenient for a bit of shopping. But if you've got bigger loads to put into the back of the car, up we go here, and you've got this enormous boot. And in this particular car, you've even got a rather nice loading tray, and this will take up to 75 kg. I might be tipping that at the moment, so I daren't jump onto it. Right, let's go and take a look at the interior before we take it out for a drive. Right, well, I'll just turn that off so that we can have a look at the inside, because really this is fared so much better than many cars of the same age. For 23 years old, it is a very luxurious cabin still, and I'm pleased to say it's aged really very gracefully. There are things like this media console here, which have obviously, things have moved on quite a bit since then, but at the time this was really super high tech, and there's even a little TV screen which you can play around with. The seats are incredibly comfortable and luxurious, and they've even got almost what seems to be like an infinite amount of adjustments. The stitching in the car is particularly nice. We've got the Alpina blue and green, and the V-shaped stitching here is something that was unique to those cars that were built for the Japanese market, this car being one of those. There are other cool features such as this plaque up here which shows that this is car number 143, which is a really cool exclusive touch to have as well. In front of you then you've got this beautifully trimmed steering wheel which has this electrical four-way adjustment, and then there's a plethora of buttons to use, which is sort of controlling the stereo, your cruise control, and then you've even got the buttons behind the steering wheel to go up or down a gear should you choose to do so. That's about it for now. Let's take her out for a drive and see what she's like on the road. Right, out on the open road. Whoa. See, when you put your foot down, the V8 really sort of bursts into life and you get this big chorus. But just cruising, the V8 is civilised, dare I say even sedate, and the low profile tyres, you expect a harsh ride, but actually they're very comfortable. See, this car was produced in the same year that BMW launched the X5, and 2 years before, Mercedes had launched the ML. The result of which was that the beloved family estate was soon to be eclipsed by sales of SUVs. And that left OEM bosses thinking, was there really a place for a fast estate car in their lineup? So where does that leave the Alpina? And who exactly is it for? Well, perhaps it's for those who actively want something different, and whilst they want the power of, say, something like the M5, they want something just slightly more subtle and sophisticated. There are those who want the potent power and speed, but without a manual gearbox and stiff suspension, and if that's you, then the Alpina is definitely the right way to go. Buying one of these is a pretty deliberate statement to be different, because if you wanted performance, you probably would have bought the M car variant. If you wanted luxury, then no need to spend the additional money that this would have cost you when it was new. You could have just had the 540, perfectly powerful enough and arguably just as comfortable. The Alpina buyer is a very specific customer, and the last thing they want is to have the same car as you. A nice bit of open road, just kick down on this. Oh yes! Oh, it comes alive, this thing. Bloody hell. You go from sedate estate to something that's just like a bullet train. So the question is it worth it? Well, in a word, yes. The noise this thing makes when you open her up is enough to buy it, yet alone its supreme practicality and comfortable ride. It's not all asbo cracks and bangs, it's much more civilised. Think sort of Brian Blessed in a velvet suit kind of thing. Whoa, ho, ho. Civilised, smooth, but with lungs of a Greek god, I think is probably the way to describe this car. There really aren't that many about, certainly not as nice as this. If you like what you see here, head over to Collecting Cars and check out the full listing and many other great collectibles. Thanks for watching and see you soon.